Alright, hey people at UG Land, Zach Hall back here with the channel Bible Fanatics, and I'm going to bring you another Bible review today. And today we have the Holman KJV Giant Print Reference Bible in a black leather touch. So I want to do a review for you guys that's more economical. And this is one of the products I got from a CPO Redeemed bookstore here in Springfield. I'll be doing a more in-depth video on them and their ministry here in Springfield. But getting into this Bible review, this is more of a lower end option, so I know a lot of you guys I can't afford the super expensive Bibles, and neither can I, so it's nice to have something where it can be cheap, but not cheaply made, something that's going to last you for a while. And so this Holman's a really great value. It comes with a slip case, and it's a very nice little slip case. It's a matte finish, and it's got the Holman kind of orange-red color. They do have a lifetime guarantee on their Bibles, so if this one, you use it for a while and then it falls apart, you can get a new one. So that's one of the awesome things about Holman. And on the back, it has all the features of this Bible. So it has a new easy-to-read typeface, and I'm excited to show you that. Show you the new font. I think it's beautiful, and I'm glad they put it in there. It's way better than the older font they had. It is Smythe Stone binding. It does have a presentation page. It's a 2-column text. This is a reference Bible, so it has in diverse cross-references. So that means your cross-reference will be at the end of the verse instead of a center column or at the bottom of the page. It has the topical page headings, Word of Christ in red. Being as cheap of a Bible this is, the red isn't as great, but we'll go over that later. 13-point type, which is amazing for the size of this Bible, and we'll go over that as well. Topical concordance, and then a full color map. So you do get a lot for this Bible. Now this retails for $29.99, but I had a bunch of discounts at this place, and so I got it for a lot cheaper than that. But getting into this is the Bible once taken out. So you see the black leather soft is really nice. It actually looks like leather. It feels like leather. So for $29, I mean, that's a really great Bible. It does have perimeter stitching. And you can see it has a stamped grain. So it really does accent well. It really does make it look like a leather cover. It's very well done. It's almost got like a suede feel to it, because when you rub it one way it's black, and then when you rub it another way it's almost like a charcoal gray. So it's kind of an interesting cover, but it's really nice. Feels good in the hand. Here's the spine. You have KJV at the top, Holy Bible, King James Version, and then Holman. It does come with one red ribbon marker, and I love the fact that they chose the red to accent the black cover and the gold gilding. And the cool thing is once you flip this open, it has red stitching. So on this side it has black stitching, and you open it, this has black. And then it's got a more of a paper liner, so it's not even vinyl, so it is a little bit cheaper there, but it is tabbed into the block. So these first two pages are glued together, which is going to give some extra strength to this Bible, even though it's more of a cheaper addition for you. The gold gilding is done really well for a $20 Bible. So you can take a look at that. So, I mean, this is really a really good deal. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that you can't afford a Cambridge, you can't afford an Allen, you can't afford some of these more expensive Bibles, but there's some good ones from Holman that they produce, and they're going to last you a while, and they're really affordable. So getting this, you get a presentation page there. It's pretty basic, just one little page, no family record section or anything like that. And you have the title page here for the Bible. You have the ISBNs for all the editions, so I'll let you, if you want to pause and look at that, they do have a bunch of other editions of this Bible that you can get it in. One thing that's cool we're going to see is that the font was actually made by 2K Denmark, so they're one of the premier font designers for Bibles. They do a lot of Allen Bibles, or excuse me, a lot of Cambridge and even Schuyler Bibles like that, so they're a high-end font foundry, and they do really good work. And so this is a new font. You can see this came out in 2019. So this is a new typesetting for the King James, which is really cool. Then you have your contents page here, Old and New Testaments, Old Testament title page, and then we're going to get into the font. So you can see this Bible is really not that big. There's my hand on the page. You can see my hand takes up a pretty good amount of this. It's easy to hold in one hand. Now you can see I did break this in, so it does lay flat a little bit here. it's going to fight, but it does lay flat open to Genesis 1. Now, interesting thing is they left justified the title page. Now, for the King James, this is really not normal. Normally, it's center justified, so it's not to the left. But they chose with the new setting to do that. And I think it's interesting, a new way to do it. I wouldn't have minded if it was in the middle, but the left looks nice. They did it really well. But you see this font. It's nice and black. It's very dark. And compared to their old font, I have a video on my channel if you want to go look at that of the personal size large print, which this Bible is replacing that one. So this is their new font. And the old font was really light and it was more gray, and so it had way more ghosting. Also, for a $20 Bible, this is line matched. So what that means is that the lines on this side of the page match up with the lines on the back side of this page, which is going to help a lot with readability. So that means you're not going to see as much coming through the page. So you can see this lines up. And so this really does enhance the readability of the text. And the paper is a nice white color. It's not yellow. It's not cream. And so the black really does pop off the page, and it's really easy to read. And now the margin size is really good because in the gutter here, the margin brings the text out of the middle of the Bible. So it's going to be more easy for you to read this column. And then you do have a margin all the way around. You can maybe put some cross references or symbols if you want to. And then we see here also the end of a verse reference, what that looks like. So you'll get down to the verse over here in Genesis 3, that's verse 16. And at the end of the verse, it gives you cross references to go check that will be similar to this verse that will help you interpret or just continue a thought throughout the Bible. And so instead of being in a center column or on the side or at the bottom, it's at the end of the verse for a quick reference. Now this Bible you also see is not self-pronouncing. So it doesn't have any of the marks, doesn't have any of the syllable breakups. It's just a straight plain text Bible. At the corner here, we do have what book and chapter you're on. You have the page number, and then you have a running page header like it said on the back of the Bible. Now, it doesn't take you long to get into this thing, and it lays completely flat. And I really like that feature about this. So this is a large print Bible, or actually it says giant print. 13-point font is pretty big, but this is in a really manageable size. So you can see I can easily hold that with one hand. If I hold this open, I can hold that with one hand, no problem, and read it. So that even says here on the back what they designed this for. So they designed it for a convenient trim size, so they wanted it to be something you can carry, but that's also perfect for devotional reading, personal study, or use at church. The giant print type also makes this Bible an ideal choice for ministry and preaching. So I think my initial impression of that is that they really did hit that out of the park, that this is really easy to carry. It's a joy to hold in the hand. It's not too big. It's not too cumbersome. But at the same time, you have a nice readable font, 13-point, in a very manageable size. It's not really a big Bible at all. Now you can see once we get in the Psalm, this is something I thought was interesting too. The King James, normally you won't have chapter 8 because the Psalm is actually a song, but normally it is center justified still. So you'd have Psalm 8 here. Instead, they left justified the Psalms as well. So you have Psalm 8 on the left, Psalm 9 on the left, and it's that same way throughout the whole Psalms, Book of Psalms. So again, some people that I've used the King James, that might look a little funny, but at the same time I appreciate that I know a lot of newer translations and more modern fonts, people are starting to do that where they left justify things a lot. So I do appreciate Holman trying to bring the King James into our generation so that we can still have it and not treat it like it is in the 16th century. I mean, it still helps and encourages believers today. So yeah, I'm very glad that they did what they did here. Now getting to the New Testament, the red letter we're going to see is probably the biggest downfall of this Bible. But again, for $20, I don't know if you can be too upset about that. This is going to be more of to me, more of an orange font than it is red. Now it's got a tint of red to it, but not enough to make it look really good. So you can see here in Matthew chapter 1, again, just showing you that this is not self-pronouncing. This is the chronology of Christ, so you can see that there's no self-pronouncing marks. You do have the Pilcrow markers, which divides the thoughts in a chapter in a book. So those start new thoughts. But you can really see that font just shine through. It's really beautiful. So here's a red letter, and there's the black letter. So I'll let you guys judge on that. It's not horrible, and again, the font's really readable. So it's a give and take. I'm not too bothered by it. If in a perfect world, I would like it a little bit more red. But at the same time, this color font isn't going to burn your eyes out. It's not like an intense pink red. So this is actually going to be easy on your eyes for reading, which again, one of their goals was for devotional reading. So I think that's good that they went this route. Again, we'll see in the New Testament, you do have the end of verse references there. At the end of all the verses where they do connect some verses to other verses. Here's the red ribbon marker. It's nice and long. So it comes out, it's actually very helpful. You can actually pull it all the way to the end of the page, and you still have some left over. So it's a very good ribbon marker. Nice quality. It is double-sided satin, so it's not just one side. So that's a really nice little ribbon marker they put in there. And it is Smythe sewn, so that means all the pages are stitched and glued, so it has a reinforced binding. That's going to definitely help. So if you do like this Bible and you say, man, I wish it was in a better cover, you could get it, use it till the cover falls off, and then get it rebound by somebody. And that's definitely something you could do. As we get back towards the end of the New Testament here, you can see it's still laying flat. So again, this is helpful for reading, for preaching. You don't want a Bible that's going to be closing on you or shutting. You want it to lay open. You want to be able to preach all the way from Genesis to Revelation and not have your Bible shut or have to keep it open. So you can see that's Revelation pretty much at the end of it, and it does lay flat. Now you do get some features at the end of this, some short stuff. So you have a where to turn section. So when you have a bunch of questions in life, they have a bunch of questions that someone might ask. Maybe you might have a friend or someone that asks that, or maybe you have questions. They have scripture references you can look up. And so that's definitely something that can come in handy for you. You do have a table of weights and measures. You have dry weights and wet weights or liquid weights. You have lengths for Hebrew and Roman and Greek measurements. And then you have a topical concordance. So instead of listing it by the name of the word in the Bible, it's by a topic of the Bible. So you have ability, you have abstinence, acceptance, affections. So you can see how this kind of works. So under the title affections, you'll have verses on affection. And then there'll be one for baptism, you'll have verses on baptism, or children, you'll have it on children. So it's more topical instead of a word concordance. But that does go for a little bit. It's not super in-depth. It's not meant to be, but it's something to maybe help you in study, or especially if you're studying this particular topic. Now they do have some maps back here. This is printed on a thinner cardstock, so it's not super thick, and it's matte. So this is like my favorite type of maps that they put in Bibles. It's not shiny, it's not glossy, it's not too thick, and it's not too thin. So this is really good to have. They're the Holman Bible maps. So they're going to be decently colored. Holman does a really good job on that. The route of the Exodus, I still disagree with, but they do have a route of Exodus map back there. And then you do have a trim around it. So if you did want to take notes on the map or something, you can do that back there as well. And so you have a bunch of different maps. Now these are pretty much just been the standard Holman maps for as long as I can remember. And then you're going to have your paper liner in the back as well. So that's the Bible. Now I wanted to compare it to something that came right into my mind as far as what would be probably the top competitor with this in the King James market. And I think undoubtedly it would be the Cambridge large print or the TBS large print. It's the same Bible. Now the difference in price here is that this Holman is $29.99. And you could probably even find it on Amazon or different places like that for cheaper. But $29.99, this one from TBS in Cambridge, Cambridge sells it on Evangelical for $80, and TBS's is $89. Retail, it's even more. Cambridge is over $100, and TBS is pretty close to $100. So now the differences is you have fake leather. Even though this is very good, this is a genuine leather from TBS. On the inside, you have a vinyl liner, and vinyl is a lot more strong, and it has tape running up the middle, so it's a lot more strong of a binding than more of this, what I call just really it's construction paper, but this is tab, so it should last a little bit longer. But the liner on the inside of TBS is a lot better. However, for the price difference, in looking at the font and the size comparison, so here's the Cambridge large print. This is like the standard. This is a very easy to carry size. This is about 11-point font in here. I'm going to put that on top of the Holman. You can see the Holman's just slightly wider, not a whole lot, and the Holman's slightly taller. But the Holman is thinner than the Cambridge. So there are trade-offs. So the Holman does feel really good in the hand because it's not as bulky, it's not as thick, and it's a little bit more tall and thin. So it does feel good in the hand, but they're about essentially the same size. And if you have a Cambridge, you know this is a very easy to carry size. It's not a big Bible at all. Now getting to the inside of the font here, something I did fail to mention is on this, every book does start on a new page in the Holman. So you'll have a bunch of white space that you can probably take notes on and everything. Now opening this up though, the Cambridge large print has been a standard for a long, long time. So the font in the Cambridge came out in 1920s is when Cambridge started producing it. So this has had definitely a longer history. But I'm going to tell you, when comparing these fonts, Holman did hit it out of the park. So you can definitely tell the Holman font is bigger. It's a 13-point font compared to an 11 in the Cambridge. The font is more clear in the Holman because it's not a metal press font, it's a digital font. So it's a lot more clear, more crisp. The letters are more precise. So that makes it a lot more easy to read. Also, another big thing that I was just looking at is while the paper in the TBS is a lot better, one thing I did notice is that the TBS is not line matched, or the Cambridge large print is not line matched, whereas the Holman is line matched. So you can kind of see here where these letters are all off. Now, because the paper is good in this Bible and the TBS, it's easy to read. That doesn't really distract me. However, for a $20 Bible to be line matched and for a $90 Bible not to be line matched, I think that's a great deal you're getting in the Holman. And you can see there the ghosting comparison. And in some ways, the Holman does look a lot better. Now, where there's no text, the paper in the Holman's thinner, so you're definitely going to see more ghosting there. But where it matches up, and comparing it to the TBS and the Cambridge, I would say the Holman is right on par with it. Even though the paper is a little bit thinner, I still say that for $29, this is impressive what Holman did. I mean, a lot of people have used the Cambridge and have used it for their preaching Bible, devotional, take it to church, take it to Bible study. I mean, there's tons of people on YouTube who use it. I know tons of people that actually use it that I know, and they love it. And I think this Holman is on par with that, especially for the price point. I mean, talking about $30 compared to $100. You save $70. The Holman has a lifetime guarantee. Cambridge only has a defective guarantee. So if you get the Bible and it's messed up when you get it, you can send it back and trade it out. Whereas Holman, it's lifetime. So you use it, and if you use it correctly, you're not just trying to destroy it, but it falls apart, they will replace it for you for free. And so you can continually use the same Bible, and it's a lot cheaper. So, one-time investment compared to having to buy a Bible over and over again. So I think that's another cool thing that Holman does, a lifetime guarantee. Also in the TBS and Cambridge, you don't get a topical concordance, you don't get maps, and you don't get a word to churn section at all. It's just plain text. There's nothing in the back. So some people do like that. The TBS Cambridge large print is self-pronouncing. So I'll get to Matthew here so you can see that. So it is self-pronouncing there. Again, though, you can see it's not line matched, so you can kind of see some of the ghosting. Here it is line matched. And you can see the ghosting where there's no text, where there's just white space. But where the text is, there is really no ghosting at all. But there is no self-pronunciation in this one. There is self-pronunciation in the Cambridge. There's no red letter in the Cambridge. There is red letter in the Holman. So that is kind of a big divide too for some people. Some people love red letter, some people hate it. So just let you know that these are probably two of the top of the line large print King James you can get right now. One has red letter, one doesn't. So that might be a make or break point for you. Another interesting thing is that the Cambridge does restart the page numbering system in the New Testament. So it goes back to page 1 at Matthew. Well, there's page 3. But in the Holman, it continues. So you see you have 1622. And so sometimes I like that. I think those are interesting points. Because this is a lot easier. Like if some people read like 10 pages a day, so you can divide this by 10, and that's about how many days you would read it through in a year. So, this probably has about 1,700 pages, so you can read through this Bible in 170 days if you read 10 pages a day. With the Cambridge, you'd have to add up the Old Testament and the New Testament, so it doesn't continue all the way through. Now, as far as the cover goes, I don't think there's a comparison. I think the TBS has a lot better cover, and the binding, as far as the vinyl liner, is better. They're both Smythe sewn, so they both will last you as far as the text blocks go. The ribbons are about the same. Really, I've been looking at them and feeling they're really not much of a difference. The gilding on the TBS is really good. This one has a slight art gilt to it, but the Holman gilding is really good too. And this actually does have a slight art gilt. I don't know if you can tell, but it has more of a copper brown color when you open the pages. So it does have, in a sense, an art gilt. But that is the review, guys, for this Holman Giant Print Reference Bible. I'm telling you, for $30, for the font you get, how clear it is, it's line matched, you have red letter, you have a small concordance, maps, and a clear 13-point font, and a Bible that's easy to hold and carry, that won't be too heavy. You can take it to church, you can take it to work. If you're a preacher, this would easily fit on a pulpit, no problem, with even a journal and some notes. The size is really good, and it's not too thick, and you get a lifetime guarantee. So there it is, the Holman KJV Giant Print Reference Bible in black leather soft. If you want, pick you one up if you have a bookstore near you. If not, you can find these on Amazon or at Holman's website. And I'll zoom in here so you can see the ISBN, because sometimes they're a little hard to find on Holman's website. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great night. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, please let me know, and I will get to you as soon as I can. Hope you have a great night. Take care, and God bless.